by the more realistic expanded definition, which includes the discouraged job seekers, South Africa's rate of unemployment is far higher than that of any comparable middle-class country. This level of joblessness is the main reason that 40 to 50% of South Africans live in the poverty, and we have become one of the most unequal societies in the world, with 50% of the population living on an 8% national income. Of particular concern is that 72% of the unemployed are the youth, aged between 18 and 34. Of these, 62 have less than a secondary school education, while 33 have completed a secondary education but have never been in any type of employment. The numbers of those unemployed for more than a year accounts for 60% of the total unemployment people. This means that most of the unemployment in our economy is structural. Even what appears initially as a circular unemployment quickly evolves into a long-term structural unemployment. And as the biggest contributors to the state wealth, it is no surprise that as a province, Gauteng remains the hardest hit. With the youth accounting for more than 62% of our population, it's disturbing that the unemployment rate is 23.7%, which means there is a clear sign that we need to be concerned, but most importantly that we need a change in approach to issues and policies to benefit the unemployed and poor. 2015 will mark the beginning of the biggest economical shift for Gauteng, as we map out the plans to improve the state of living, economic activity, our manufacturing and agricultural production, and overall social transformation. Now is the time to rescue Gauteng from the deep levels of inequality, poverty, starvation, and unemployment. And these are our essential plans to achieve the following key goals: to redistribute Gauteng's considerable inherited wealth for all to benefit, lead sustainable industrial development to expand the provincial economy to provide enough for all who live in it, and elevate the economic standing within the broader global context. Create and advance quality, sustainable jobs to achieve full employment between 2015 and 2019. Increase minimum wages in order to close the huge wage gap that exists in all workplaces, and address the crisis of the working poor in terms of underdeployment. 4,500 Rand for all domestic workers in Gauteng, and following the expropriation bill, all mines in the province will pay workers a minimum of 12,500 Rand a month. We shall also, in this term, continue to provide quality education, skills, and training for the poor until the first post-secondary qualification. Education will be free to the undergraduate level, and all pupils and students will be provided with adequate learning and teacher support materials. For successful and sustainable economic development and growth, Gauteng requires a concerted focus on the attainment of skills, education, and expertise in various fields. The attainment of these skills should necessarily respond to the massive skills shortage that define existing industries, but the education system should also be positioned to assist with new industrial developments. The approach to realizing this noble objective should include, but not be limited to, the alignment of skills to industrial sectors, the expansion of post-secondary education and training, the transformation of higher education and training, and the introduction of a scholarship system that will provide educational and training opportunities to Gauteng youth studying outside the country or the province, so that they can return after learning and have more than would have been possible within the South African borders. The alignment of skills to industrial sectors should be done in a manner similar to the approach adopted by development economies, but in a more focused and properly resourced model that would necessarily include the establishment of focus in universities. Gauteng, through the Department of Education, will establish and resource sector-focused institutions of higher learning, tertiary institutions to expand and deepen their qualitative focus in terms of course offering and research, with a view to create centers of excellence across the tertiary education spectrum. Skills, education, and expertise are an important feature of sustainable industrial and economic development for any economy. The province, in collaboration with the industrial and manufacturing investors and practitioners, young people for various The province, in collaboration with industrial and manufacturing investors and practitioners, should put in place industry-linked training authorities, which will train particularly young people for various responsibilities in new industries and factories. Various sectors, including minerals, beneficiation, and industrialization, examples, which will be diamond cutting and polishing, are highly labor-absorptive sectors, and training agencies should be able to establish so that these sectors can supply labor for the particular sector. The post-secondary education and training capacity in Gauteng presently does not respond to the quantities of aspirant students produced by the general education system. General education produces close to 1 million young people annually who graduate without any hope of future education or drop out of schools for varied reasons. Chief amongst them is the problem of being excluded from opportunity along many other socio-economic reasons in the wake of the widespread inadequate teaching methodologies. These learners should be provided with the opportunity for post-secondary training, education, and development through mechanisms that will support their training level, The learners should be provided with the opportunity for post-secondary training, education, and development through mechanisms that will include higher learning institutions, further education and training colleges, support for small, medium, and micro-sized enterprises, and various other forms of vocational training. As a matter of principle, the state should build capacity at post-secondary education and training level that will put the state in position to absorb all learners who pass their senior certificates or leave school from grade 10 and 11. This entails, amongst other things, the state should heavily invest in the qualitative and quantitative expansion of higher education institutions, FETs, SMEs, mentorship programs, and other vocational training and institutions. This should necessarily be accompanied by a comprehensive strategy aimed at realizing free education. A critical role will be played by the state-owned enterprises, municipalities, and other state agencies in absorbing and training learners from tertiary levels. It has always been said that a healthy society is a progressive society. There has been a lot of woes concerning the department, but we seek to turn it around and begin to prioritize this service as an essential to the community. Gauteng Province will continue to provide free, accessible, and quality health care. We will ensure that the procurement system for this department will be strengthened. This will ensure that never again will ordinary members of society go to their local clinics and hospitals and be turned away because of the lack of medication or equipment. The capacitation of hospital management will be prioritized to afford hospitals the opportunity to deal with the long queues and state of cleanliness, etc., which are basic deliverables to the everyday life and functions of the hospitals.